Good evening and welcome to my study. My name is Ron. I will be your host. And it is my pleasure to share a devotional time with you. And tonight we are getting into Ezra, which I do believe, let me just check here, yeah. It is the 10th book of the 12 books of Israel's history. And we're starting off in chapter 3. It's a fairly interesting read. We know from finishing up Second Chronicles that the Israelites were in 70 years of captivity with Nebuchadnezzar. And then when King Cyrus, Persia, was their king, God put on his heart to let the Israelites go back and rebuild the temple. And in Ezra chapters 1 and 2 is a basic account of all the families that returned to Israel. They have a bit of a census here. And in total, about a little over 42,000 people returned to Judah. We're starting off in chapter 3 tonight. In early autumn, when the Israelites had settled in their towns, all the people assembled in Jerusalem with a unified purpose. That's kind of exciting to know that 42,000 people could all have the same goal, the same drive. The first thing they do is rebuild the altar of God so they can perform all the prescribed offerings to God and the different celebrations that they go through. Then we go on. Then the people hired masons and carpenters and bought cedar logs from the people of Tyre and Sidon, paying them with food, wine, and olive oil. The logs were brought down from the Lebanon mountains and floated along the coast of the Mediterranean to Joppa, for King Cyrus had given permission for this. The construction of the temple of God began in mid-spring during the second year after they arrived in Jerusalem. The workforce was made up of everyone who had returned from exile. That's a pretty large work group getting after one job. No doubt, it was a huge job. When the builders completed the foundation of the Lord's temple, the priests put on their robes and took their places to blow their trumpets. And the Levites, descendants of Asaph, clashed their cymbals to praise the Lord, just as King David had prescribed. With praise and thanks, they sang this song to the Lord. He is so good, his faithful love for Israel endures forever. That's would have been what a song to hear. He is so good, and his faithful love for Israel endures forever. That applies to us Gentiles as well. We learn about that in the New Testament. But let's just before we finish that thought, let's just finish reading the last part of the chapter 3. Then all the people gave a great shout, praising the Lord, because the foundation of the Lord's temple had been laid. But many of the older priests, Levites, and other leaders who had seen the first temple wept aloud when they saw the new temple's foundation. The others, however, were shouting for joy. The joyful shouting and weeping mingled together in a loud noise that could be heard far in the distance. I'm not sure about why that's in there, those last few verses. I understand they're shouting for joy, praising the Lord. They don't really tell us why the people that had seen the first foundation laid, why they were weeping at the laying of the second foundation. Speculation? Mine would be because they knew they're falling away from God is what caused the devastation of the first one. You tell me what you think. Leave me a comment if you feel like it. But like I said, the Bible doesn't tell us why there was weeping going on, not just joyfulness. Okay, take away from this. Praising God is a good thing. We have no way of comprehending how great God's love is for us. It's way beyond our comprehension. All we can do is praise His holy name. And I was listening to a YouTuber. His name is I Am Beggar. I Am Beggar. He has a very good channel to listen to if you want to hear about prayer. But a good way if you be on a baby step if you have been struggling with your prayer life. Start just with just a few minutes of praise and gratitude time every morning. And then just sit there for a few minutes and be totally quiet. That's it. Praise, gratitude, and quiet. You'll be astonished at what you get out of that. And there's something to meditate on. You all have a good night. God willing, we'll see you tomorrow. The word for this week, repudiate. Good night.